Now, recently we found out that the government is planning on gutting net neutrality. Now, that's awfully weird because I remember President Obama saying something that was very positive about net neutrality when he was on the campaign trail. He said, what you've been seeing is some lobbying that says that servers and the various portals through which you're getting information over the internet should be able to be gatekeepers and to charge different rates to different websites. And that I think destroys one of the best things about the internet, which is that there is this incredible equality there. Well, all right, there's President Obama saying on the campaign trail when he's trying to trick you, get you to vote for him, that he's totally in favor of net neutrality, equality on the internet, and that he's going to stand up to these people who are going to destroy one of the best things about the internet. Well, quite surprised to find out last week, as the Wall Street reported, that the revised rules that the FCC is considering to be announced by the FCC will allow ISPs to give preferential treatment to traffic from some content providers as long as such arrangements are available on commercially reasonable terms. How's that for funny? There it goes, net neutrality, gone. Now they're going to announce that soon. That was the Wall Street Journal breaking that story, explaining that they will be able to differentiate and slow down some websites if they don't pay enough, if they don't like their content enough. It doesn't really matter because it's solely in their hands. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler, whose history we'll tell you about in a second, said, no, there's a lot of misinformation here. Look, they have to be commercially reasonable. Oh, we're going to trust those massive corporations who stand to make hundreds of millions of dollars off those decisions to be commercially reasonable. Well, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, that usually works when they regulate themselves. So this is a complete abdication of their responsibility to regulate responsibly and to protect us all, and obviously going back 100% on the statements that President Obama gave when he was campaigning. We'll tell you why in a second. Now, let me give you some background on the revolving door at the FCC. Not related to this issue, but to other issues that affect providers like Comcast. There was Meredith Atwell Baker. She was a former FCC commissioner. And right after she allowed Comcast to merge with NBC, she was a very important vote as a commissioner on that. Well, you look at that. She wound up taking a high-level lobbyist job for Comcast. What a wonderful coincidence. That wound up coincidentally depositing probably millions of dollars over a set of years in her bank account, and probably not a long set of years. Michael Powell is a former FCC chairman, not just commissioner, but chairman. Who did he work for right after? Oh, well, you look at that. He's now lobbying for Comcast-Time Warner Cable merger as the head of the National Cable and Telecommunications lobbying effort. He went from the head of the FCC to the head of the lobbyist group for those same people that they were regulating. So this is business as usual. Now, when it comes to this issue of net neutrality, where do we stand there? Well, let me give you a long list of people, and by the way, there are at least a dozen others. I'm just giving you some of the highlights here of people that are now at the FCC and where they used to work. Brendan Carr is an advisor to FCC Commissioner Ajit Pai. Now, Ajit Pai happens to be a Republican, so it's not surprising to know that Brendan Carr worked for years as an attorney to AT&T, CenturyLink, Verizon, and the U.S. Telecom Association. Gee, I wonder which way he's going to pressure the FCC to go. Of course, it's going to be against net neutrality. Now, let's go to Matthew Del Nero. He was brought into the FCC to work on net neutrality. Well, he's worked on net neutrality before for TDS Telecom, an internet service provider that has lobbied against net neutrality. Well, seems like a coincidence. I mean, there's a lot of people that used to lobby against net neutrality. Now they're inside the FCC and they're going to kill net neutrality. Let's see if there's any more. There's former Ambassador Philip Verveer. He's a senior counselor to FCC Commissioner Tom Wheeler. He worked for, oh, well, you look at that, Comcast, the Wireless Association, which is a lobbying group, and the National Cable and Telecommunications Association, another lobbying group, all against net neutrality. And look at this, another person inside the FCC against net neutrality. Now, how about Daniel Alvarez? Well, he's an interesting case. He was hired directly under the FCC chairman, Tom Wheeler, who President Obama brought in recently, about a year ago. Well, where did Daniel Alvarez work? He was an attorney representing, Comcast through Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, which was his law firm. In 2010, Alvarez wrote a letter to the FCC on behalf of Comcast protesting net neutrality rules. So he works directly under Tom Wheeler, the head of the FCC. we already know he wrote a letter saying, for Comcast, saying, kill net neutrality. Oh, but Obama brings these guys in like, what, me? I said protect net neutrality, did I? Okay, here's what Alvarez, by the way, wrote about net neutrality in that letter. He said that it was, quote, socially beneficial discrimination. Well, that discrimination that you're going to have to destroy the internet, it's socially beneficial. At least it is to us. So these are the guys that now work at the FCC. And gee, I wonder if they'll rotate through that revolving door and then go on to get more money later from those same groups that they used to get money from before. Hard to tell. All right, now, that's not all. Comcast has also decided to contribute to almost every single congressperson, 32 out of the 39 members of the House Judiciary Committee, that will be deciding whether these rules get through or not. They'll at least be part of that process. You want to cover your bases. Now, how much money did they spend lobbying just last year? $18.8 million, just last year alone, okay? But we're not done yet. I mentioned Tom Wheeler and what his motivations might be. He's the FCC chairman today. Now, let's take a look at his resume and see what's on it. Oh, he's chairman of the FCC now. He's previously president of the National Cable Television Association. That would be the major lobbying group for cable. And he was also the CEO of the Cellular Telecommunications and Internet Association. Well, you look at that. That's another group that's in the same industry that he was a chief lobbyist for, and both of those groups are against net neutrality. What a wonderful coincidence. Now, why did all this stuff happen? Why did President Obama, who claimed to be for net neutrality, load up the FCC, including its head, with people who are against net neutrality? Oh, another unbelievable coincidence. You're not going to believe this. Tom Wheeler raised $700,000 during President Obama's 2 presidential election campaigns. I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. You see, if in the mainstream media you mention who's getting paid by whom and the campaign contributions, they say, oh, no, these are honorable gentlemen. How dare you besmirch the reputation of our honorable politicians by implying that they got bought off? Well, guess what? That's exactly what I'm implying. I'm not even implying it. I'm saying it. President Obama is a 2-bit politician bought off like the rest of them. He told you sweet little lies about how he's going to protect net neutrality, and then he put in people that he knows are against net neutrality, and now they are gutting net neutrality because they don't want equality. They want a system that protects the already powerful. You think Barack Obama's against this system? This system made him rich, powerful, president, commander-in-chief. It made him the most powerful man on earth. He doesn't hate this system. He loves this system. He's the captain of this system. So of course he brought in a guy who gave him $700,000. And that guy is going to do the bidding of the people who have given him millions of dollars to be their chief lobbyist for his entire career. This is not a surprise to anybody. This is how the system screws us. By the way, about a year ago when he was appointed by President Obama, you should have seen how ecstatic the lobbyist groups and the internet providers and the cable companies and all those guys were. Broadband put out a press release. Okay, now this is another lobbying group that is against net neutrality. We applaud President Obama on his nomination of Tom Wheeler to be the next FCC chairman. That's when you knew we were already screwed. And then for the next year, they were like, gee, I wonder which way Tom Wheeler is going to go. Oh, golly, gee, I don't know. But appointed by Obama, it could go either way. Jim Cocconi, AT&T's lobbying and policy arm head, said at the time, I've known Tom Wheeler for many years, and he is an inspired pick to lead the FCC. An inspired pick by Obama. And I love this because at the time, a year ago, when they were writing about this on The Verge, the person who wrote the article wrote, then again, Wheeler has been selected by a Democrat who, by all appearances, wouldn't be looking to install a big business apologist. Wrong again, Bob. No. See, that's the fundamental misunderstanding of the press. They think Obama's a Democrat and a progressive. See, that's the last point of this. You got to understand that's really dangerous. Because that veneer is exactly what allows Obama to gut all reform, to go against change, to be in favor of the establishment, while no one notices. Now, we notice, right? You know, as a program, the Young Turks notice, as an audience, you know it. The whole internet's on fire about this issue. You're really angry. But when you turn on mainstream television, are they talking about this? No, they're the same guys, right? They don't mind this. They like this. And they say, no, 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 it's okay. That couldn't have been a pro-business decision. It couldn't have been against the American people. It's because Obama made the decision, so it must be a populist, progressive, democratic position. It's not. It's the exact opposite. That's why in a lot of ways, President Obama is more dangerous than someone at least you can see coming, like George W. Bush. You knew where that dude stood. Obama is change on the outside, continuity on the inside. And in this case, he just made it worse than Bush.